On today's video, resource aid and assistant changes have been a hot topic in the last week or so. And in this video, we're going to go over exactly how we, better yet, you guys, the community, managed to cause Lilith for the first time in 3 years to back out of a change. That is right. We're going to talk about how you guys did that and much more, including my opinion on it, in case you're wondering. So sit back, slap a like on the video, and let's go. Hey there, YouTube. Welcome back to Gekko Gaming. First of all, congratulations to the Rise of Kingdoms community. For the first time in 3 years worth of Rise of Kingdoms history, Lilith actually revert a coming change due to community feedback, which is relatively new for Rise of Kingdoms, the first time that ever happens. But we got to ask ourselves, how did this happen and how we can make sure it happens again? And in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly that, and as well as my opinion on this whole scenario. So let's wind back the clock a little bit. A couple of days ago, a bit of like in the beginning of the week, Lilith announced they're making changes to how resources work. In a nutshell, they're making it faster to gather and increasing the resource nodes. However, they also created a cap in which you could only get up to 200 million resource worth of assistance, as well as 200 million worth of resource plundering every single day. This is actually wrong. It's not 200,000, it's 200 million. Now, Lilith, as soon as that happened, everybody went into re-mode, because initially Lilith said that it's going to be limited but didn't give us a quantity. The next day they said 200 million of each, and then the day after that they scrapped the whole thing. But how did we even get to this point? We got to this point because Lilith come up with give us like a half-baked change announcement, thinking that they're like teasing us with what's coming or something like that, but doing it in a very, very bad way. Why? Because they wanted to tease us that there will be some sort of a cap on resource assistance and plundering, but you'll have to wait until a little bit in the future when we announce the number, a little bit of a tease. No, because in the process, what ended up happening is the community went wild. Rumors that it's 10 million of resources assistance and 10 million plundering went around. People signed petitions, announced that they're stopping to spend money. It's almost like we're back in the healing update or in the skill lock update or any other of these updates that people just went on and then a couple days later went back to spending. The good old Baba movement that ended up not really helping in anything whatsoever. And yeah, I mean, we've seen this happen in the past, right? But this time was different. This time, you guys finally implemented something that we've been talking about for a very, very, very long time, and that is the feedback, the Rise of Kingdoms feedback. If you notice, in every single update message, and as well as other things, Lilith occasionally add this link down here. Click here to give us feedback. Now, this feedback more than likely goes to the community management team or to some sort of team that analyzes data that has to do with the community's feedback. Now, the most important thing you should remember in all of this scenario is that Lilith is a data-driven company. We know this in the past. They need actual physical data to prove something, not only opinions, okay? And so when you send me a petition that has 1,100 signatures and all the good stuff in the world, in a game that has well over 10 million active users, if not more than that, 1,000 signatures is a drop of water in the sea. And you can say that all the big spenders are the most important thing in the game. There are more people out there. Lilith make up over about $30 million a month out of Rise of Kingdoms. There is not enough whales in this game, whales, and I mean the big boys, to get even to $1 million a month spent by them. Okay? Even when you take Baba clearing the shop every single day and you take all of they don't reach these numbers. If you cleaning a shop is $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month, a day. If you're spending all that, $4,000 a day, you're going to spend $120,000 a month. And believe it or not, even the biggest spender in the game who spent over $1.5 million did it in 2 years. And so $30 million a month doesn't come from the big whales. It doesn't come from the people that needed all the big resources. But where it does come from is from the small quantity of people, the small players with quantity of people. And what you guys did for the first time that was completely different was that instead of only creating petitions and Facebook posts and Twitter polls and Discord polls and all that stuff and boycotting and yelling, you guys also did this. You clicked here and you gave them feedback. Now, why is this feedback more important than anything else you do? Why does this feedback count as much as your petitions and your Facebook posts and your outrage on Discord and whatever the heck not? When Lilith put this link, they dedicated company resources to a feedback form, and they dedicated a place for you to have ability to give them data which they have access to and they can analyze in whichever way they choose to. I can promise to you, the person who opened the petition, the big petition that got over 1,000 signatures and whatever the heck not, I have no doubt in my mind, nobody in Lilith reached out to that person and be like, yo, can we see the results of the petition? How do you pass data to a company to tell them we don't like it? You're like, oh, here, I have 1,000 petitions. What tells you this is real data? What tells you this is real humans? That these are Rise of Kingdoms players. They didn't post on Google Ads for $1, sign this petition for 2-cent thing, and half a world did it. It is so easy to cheat on these things, but this is Lilith. This is company resources. And the moment you guys made them utilize these company resources in your favor, what they ended up finding out is very simple. 73% of our governors objected to the following changes. We have reviewed the feedback from summer chat. So they have spent company resources on reviewing this and realized that there's a 73% dislike of this, and so they scrapped it. What is the point? The point is, instead of going crazy, those of you who are mounting boycotts and whatever the heck not, need to create a place where there's a streamlined feedback where everybody who wants to get involved, instead of signing a petition, goes here, has exactly what the demands are, quote unquote, and everybody together puts them into the Lilith company asset, which is meant for tracking the company, the customer's feedback. That's it. That's all you gotta do. And for the first time ever, the pitchforks and knives turn into legitimate and proper feedback. Now, one last thing I do want to add into this before we go into my opinion on this whole scenario. Those of you who are business owners will understand this a little bit better. Those of you who are kids will simply just not get it because you're too entitled and think you deserve everything. But remember that even though you're playing a mobile game and this is a game and you're playing a game, this is someone's product, this is someone's business, and this is someone's livelihood. You're playing their game. They are going to do whatever they need to do in order to make their business work. Now, have you ever gone into a coffee shop where someone came into your business, a customer came into your business, and or if you work in customer service and just started yelling at you for no real reason? Just started yelling at you. Or you know what? Even if you did your job poorly and they started yelling at you, okay? Did that, or at your job or wherever it is, did that ever make you want to work better? Did that ever make you consider like that person's feedback as relevant? If you want to reach Lilith, the business, the company owners of a game called Rise of Kingdoms, and you want them to make a change in their business in order to satisfy you as a customer more, you cannot come at them with pitchforks because they're just going to defend themselves like everything else. When someone's aggressive at you, you do either one of two things. You defend yourself or you aggress back. That's it. That's all there is. There is no, oh, wait a second, maybe there's a reason why they're mad. First of all, you go into defensive mode. Then you take care of anything else. Click the feedback, ladies and gentlemen. Click the feedback. Give the feedback. It's not a waste of time. It takes 2 seconds. It took me 2 seconds to fill the form, and that's it. Let's bring better changes into Rise of Kingdoms. But let's do it through Lilith. right there. Every time you see click here to give us feedback, and it comes up a lot. They send links for feedback at least once a month, if not more. Every single time you see a link for feedback, it's your time to voice your concerns, your opinions, and what you want changed in Rise of Kingdoms. Remember that every single time you see give us a feedback, Lilith dedicated some of their company resources into gathering feedback. Go into where they control this scenario and put in your feedback. Trying to create your own narrative, trying to create your own settings, trying to create your own scenario, your Discord groups, your petitions, your videos. All that is fantastic to get the troops together. But to get the message across, there it is, right there. Personally, I think the 200 million resources every day is a fairly reasonable way to block a little bit of things that are going on in this game. I think that the way Rise of Kingdoms works right now is it allowed we as a community, as a game in general, are used to the fact, kind of like with the healing thing in the past, are used to the fact that, well, if you have unlimited speed ups, then you can get unlimited resources and just go wild. And what Lilith are trying to avoid, and we've been talking about this for months now, is for the older generation and the older players that are spending or have spent and have billions of hours of speed ups available, so that they don't grind down players down to 0 speed ups. Someone like Death Squad, for example, has enough capabilities to bring down any medium to low spender by simply grinding them down, speed up for speed up, resource for resource. And so you get to a point where the small players have no also chance to say, listen, guys, I don't want to keep fighting. I want to have a little bit of resources or a little bit of speed ups for, you know, the next fight, for the next couple of days. One of the main reasons I kept hoarding resources for years is because I was never good at gathering, and more I would need more resources, and I knew that I can blast through 3 billion food this KVK. I can. But I know that if I blast through 3 billion food of KVK, this KVK, I will not have food next KVK at all. And so I rather be able to use 700 million during 5 KVKs than use 3 billion in 1 KVK. There are players out here in this KVK that are ready to make me spend all of my speed ups and still beat me. All of my resources and still beat me. So Lilith's attempt on blocking the crazy despair that there is between people when it comes to resources, especially with resource sellers, is not necessarily something that is bad. It does ruin for people like me. For example, the scenario in which in the middle of a fight, I run out of resources. There are people in this kingdom, like I mentioned, that have billions of resources and don't necessarily use them. They want to help me. They are limited up to 200 million, and then I'm tapped out. That indeed is a very negative aspect. It ruins the in-war experience of getting resources and continuing to help your alliance mates and whatever the heck not. But it also creates a scenario in which now you need to plan your wars a little bit better. There's no point on earth for Putty, and I'm using Putty a lot as an example because it's just sitting next to me. There's no reason on earth for Putty to have 10 billion of each resource, get out of this KVK with 7 billion of each resource, and then by next KVK, Putty has 11 billion of each resource, and so you're just stacking resources for no real reason, okay? There are people like that. There are people out here, not only in this KVK, in every KVK, that have more resources than they need. But they are not really open about distributing them until they see that they have more than they need. And that is a big problem. So on the one hand, it does limit a little bit the bigger players from just being completely wild and being able to drop 100 million power in one day because they don't care, because they get the resources for it and the speed ups they've already had because they've been spending for months. But for those of us who don't have resources, and there are folks out there with resources, you will get out of commission because of this kind of situation, and that's not very good. You all saw what I did last KVK or 2 KVKs ago when we were against 7 Kingdoms and I was pretty much garrisoning everything in their grandma. The only reason I was able to get that done was because folks from 401 just bombarded me with resources. I was given well over 1 billion resources during that KVK. And that was not over 5 days. That was over a period of, like, while the fights are going on, I'm receiving resources. And while I'm healing and running out of resources, I'm getting more. And so there is goods and there's bads. I can see where Lilith went with this. I was not a big fan of the change personally, but I could see the positives in it as well. Okay, that's all I was trying to say. If it was up to me, this change shouldn't happen. I would much rather be able to get assistance if I need to than get stuck because, you know, they're trying to limit some whales, and as a part of it, I got screwed too. That's my opinion in general. We can go into much more details on the mechanics and all that good stuff, but I don't think that this is a point that's even worth bringing in anymore because Lilith have indeed been shut down for now. The cap has been removed. Congratulations to the community. Let's keep doing doing it the right way. Keep sending the feedback. You now see, you have proof that the feedback is significant. So make sure you do that. I'm Gekko. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe down below. I will see you in tomorrow's stream. Take care. Have a good one. Peace.